Greetings, everyone. I am Dr. Noni Davis, and I am coming to you from St. C Academy. I am a legacy owner of St. C Academy, an African centered school here that my parents, the late William Edward Davis, and my mother, Sylvia Davis, started back in 1986. And so today, I wanted to just go over Kwanzaa. And I have been celebrating Kwanzaa since 1984. I know my daughter was about 3 years old when we started attending this festival. We had just moved back to this area, Durham, from Virginia, and so um, one of the reasons I guess it was easy for us to adopt this tradition in my family was because my parents had practiced, an African, not an African centered necessarily, but a very black focused home. And in the 70s, my mother had curriculum from the 70s that were some of the early black centered curriculum that included African characters in the ABCs and there were books about black people. I remember reading Jet magazines back in the night, the Ebony Junior magazines back in the 70s, and so I grew up aware of of an African culture. I remember learning about Singbe Pia, who is also we know him as on the Amistad as, oh my goodness, I can't remember what they call. I only Cinque on the Amistad, and I remember reading those kind of stories in the Ebony Junior books. And Ebony was like on it back in the 70s. So the growing up in that kind of household, and then we also, my parents had completed military service, so they were on the GI Bill and went back to college. And so I remember being eating in the homes of some of the African students who were on campus. And I never forget Mr. Ndbisi, who I believe went back to Nigeria to take the role of a chieftain in his community. But I remember. Um, uh, uh, Celebrating African culture, having African artifacts in my home, and all of that. So, yeah, I was in this space from a very young age. Um, and so, what I wanted to do is, because we were talking about African celebrations, I really believe that with the incoming administration, I think Black people are going to kind of be doing some reassessment of what we need to do and how we're going to continue to elevate our communities. And Kwanzaa is definitely one of those areas that we need to engage in. A celebration that we need to participate in that would reaffirm our commitment to our community, building ourselves, loving ourselves, and just celebrating being amazing people that we are. And so, what I wanted to start with is Milena Karenga and even the origin of Kwanzaa. Um, I know that the idea of this celebration was being celebrated in different places. You're at New York, you had New Jersey, you had wherever you had a collective of African Americans who were like my parents, who were moving towards this embracing Africa as much as not just being a black person or being a person who was Negro, which is what people were called in the United States back in the 1960s, but claiming our blackness and claiming our Africanness. And so there was already, from what I understand, conversations about starting this. But what kicked it off was the Watts rebellion back in 1965 in Los Angeles. And Black people in that community had been, just sick and tired and they have been complaining and protesting against police violence in their community. And so this particular evening, I think it was August 11th, 1965, a young man named Marquette Fry. He was 21 years old, and he was stopped by the police, and they accused him of being drunk while driving. So they said he was inebriated. He apparently, according to the police, failed his drug test. And then when they proceeded to apprehend him, he fought back, and they ended up killing him. But Black people witnessed it. Apparently, his mother was there, and then there was also a pregnant Black woman who apparently was attacked by the police. And so Black people said, "I'm tired." And for 6 days, from August 11th to the 16th, they rioted, and they just tore up. I think they said, I'm trying to think. They said 34 people were killed. And I don't know, I couldn't find the exact numbers, like was this all Black people in the Black community, or I didn't get a chance to find that. But they said 1,000 were injured, and $40 million in damage happened. And what they eventually had to call in the National Guard because it was so bad, and then and issue a curfew. And so Milana Karenga was out there in Los Angeles and decided, you know, his response was like, how can we help to heal our community? What can we do to restore faith and love in our community after this tragedy? And so he decided to start Kwanzaa there. And so December 26, 1966, which was about 4 or 5 months later. What is that? September, October, November, December. So 4 months later, he organized September, October, November, December. Sorry, I have to make, type A personality, you gotta have it exactly right. But anyway, so about 4 months later, on December 26th, he started Kwanzaa in response to the Watts riot. Now, he is a very controversial figure. There's a lot of accusations about what he did as a person. He had violated some women, and I am not about to go into that space. But for Kwanzaa, I don't think that Kwanzaa should be demeaned, because it was not just Milana Karenga. It was, Dr. Karenga. It was also several other African Americans who had already developed this concept. He is just the one who was able to successfully implement it, get it started, and on that particular date. And after 30, at this point, they said approximately 30 million people celebrate Kwanzaa. So I know people want to say, well, it's a made up holiday. Well, all holidays are made up, and we are actually, when we're celebrating days like Christmas, the Ethiopians celebrate Christmas on January 6th. We Americans do, and Europeans, December 25th, and then in other communities they're celebrating it. I know Russia, some of these other places are all celebrating it on a different date. If there was a specific date, seemed to me everybody would celebrate it. So everybody has made their choice about when this is going to be celebrated. We know that Ramadan also is celebrated according to alignment with a particular astronomical event, alignment of the moon with the star. So we know that this is, someone decided that we're going to celebrate this particular event. Easter's, all of these holidays are created. Somebody decided to do it. And then a lot of these holidays are also were pagan and became religious holidays, or so. And I don't really like the word pagan. It's just that they're cultural, and they have been transformed or adopted into other the things that we practice now. But this is the 58th year of Kwanzaa, and I think that it is monumental in what yeah, oh, the 20, it's 2025, January 1st, 2025. Yeah, we're getting ready to go into the 59th year of celebrating Kwanzaa, and we should always look at what is the core values of this holiday, of this celebration. I don't call it a holiday necessarily, because it's not necessarily a holy day. It's mostly a cultural um, celebration. It is a 7-day celebration from December 26th through January 1st, which means it does not conflict with Christmas. It is something that can be done after the Christmas holiday. Like I said, it is not a religious holiday. It is not a holiday; it's a celebration, and also it is not an African celebration. Africans did have first fruits celebrations, and first fruits are usually associated with harvest time. And so all over Africa, I think they in Milana's book. Where did I put his book? I'm sorry, I can't find. Oh, it's over here. I'm gonna pick this up. His book that he wrote, that I have an autograph copy of, Kwanzaa by Milana Karenga. And so in his book, I think he calls it Kaweda, and Kaweda is an ancient practice, I think, in throughout African communities. So here he said, so what this book does is he examines um, cultural similarities between what the continental Africans practice, and he used those practices to become the core values for Kwanzaa. And so the first thing I wanted to do is talk about the symbols. Okay, so the colors for Kwanzaa, if you can look over here at my table, I have the red, the black, and the green. Red, black, and green fabric. A lot of times we have a bandera. Bandera is the African flag that Marcus Garvey. Those are the colors that Marcus Garvey came up with for to celebrate African Americans. And oh wait, I'm trying to get myself in this picture. Okay, so Marcus Garvey created these colors. The green celebrates the future, the economic advancement of Black people. I would say the future, land, and our achievements. Um, you have the black, which of course represents the Black people and our African ancestry, and the red, which celebrates the struggle for freedom, the blood that we have shared to achieve these things. And so it's generally the red, the black, and the green in that order, because the struggle for Black people, and then the rewards we reap of our for all of the work that we've done. So I have the bandera is not necessarily what you have to have, but I always include it on my uh, Kwanzaa table. We generally start with the mkeka, the mat, and mine is old because I told you I have been celebrating this for over 30 years, and so some of the things that I have here are old, some of them are new. Um, but the mkeka is the mat, and it's the foundation. I've heard people also say that this represents ancestors. or grounding. And so generally this is the first thing that goes on the table. And I'm going to move some of my stuff around here, and I'm going to put my Kanara on top of my, okay. So this is my Kanara. This symbol here is an Akan symbol. It means fear no one but the creator. My stuff needs to be cleaned off a bit. It's Jinyame. Jinyame. It's an Adinkra symbol from the Akan people of Ghana. And please ignore the different heights of my candles. I was sure that some of my candles broke while I was trying to set this up. But anyway, once again, you can see you have the 7 candles: 3 red, 3 green, and 1 black. So this is the Mishuma Saba. The Mishuma Saba are the 7 candles. Each of the candles represents a principle, which is the Nguzo Saba. Saba means 7. So the Nguzo meaning principles. So the 7 principles. But the Mishuma Saba are the 7 candles. The black candle, of course, is Umoja. Umoja is the first day of Kwanzaa on December 26th. Now, there's a lot of people have their own lighting traditions. Me in particular, I have my tradition is the black, of course, goes first, but then I do red and green because I believe that before you accomplish anything, you have to put in the work. So it could be the work, it could be the struggle, it could be the determination, and then you move to the green where you reap the benefits or the reward for that struggle. So Moja, Kujichagulia is self-determination. Let's see, I'm gonna read what he has written for each friend. That will help a lot because I have. And that way I don't have to remember everything. And I don't know why I didn't pull this out before. But here we go. Yes. So Umoja means to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. And then we have Kujichagulia, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. That's Kujichagulia, self-determination. The third day for me is the green, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. To build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. And that's interesting because today I had a conversation with a parent who shared, that her family is going through a struggle. And I said, hey, we're going to be okay. Don't let St. Cia be a problem that you can just let that one go and focus on what you have to do and not worry about, what you have to do here. Just stay focused because we need to build our community. We don't want to have a disruption in the family. Let's keep everything together and we'll see how things work out. So that is Ujima. Then you have Ujamaa, is cooperative economics, which I guess that could be that too. To build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses and profit from them together. This particular principle is something I think African Americans are going to have to really return to and embrace fully. We're always talking about black businesses, black businesses, black businesses. I think at this moment we're going to have to take that very seriously, building our communities, setting our own standards of what we believe is excellence. Also, understanding that what we need and what we desire it cannot always be operating in this extreme capitalism. And we live in capitalism. People got to earn their money. I'm not negating that, but this greed to the detriment of others, and without consideration that everybody has to eat, everybody needs to have a decent place to live, everyone should have decent shelter. Everyone needs to be able to have access to quality education, and everyone needs to be able to have the skills they need to care for themselves. And so there we go. So that's Ujamaa. Nia, I see Ujima, Ujamaa, Nia's purpose. So to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. That to me is what Saint Sia is doing. We're trying to make sure that our children understand who they are, what their purpose is, and how do we help them navigate the future. Who are they and what are they here to do? Um, and then understand historically who we were. So um, we did not start with slavery. We're the oldest people on the planet. We were the first inventors. We were the first to engage in architecture, to create shelter. We were the first to decide what plant we could use for medicine. We were the first ones to come up with fire. We were the first ones to domesticate animals. We were the first to create agriculture. So, did we do everything? We are the foundation for a lot of these things. We were studying the stars. We were studying the planets. We were we created calendars, lunar calendars and solar calendars, and so it it was out of necessity, and so that was our genius. Innovation was our genius, and we continue to be innovators. That is our historical legacy. So when we're discussing returning to our past and understanding the traditions of practicing Stankofa, return to the past to learn for the future, that is what Nia is. Making sure our children understand who they have been and build on that legacy for the future. After that is Kuumba. Kuumba is creativity. That is the sixth day. And once again, you're working, you're being innovative. This is to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. That's part of my morning meditation prayer with my students. Who are we? What gifts and talents do we have within us? And how do we use those gifts to build a better community? How do we build on the legacy of our ancestors so we can have continue to the struggle, or continue to elevate, to continue to build joy and love and community like our ancestors did? So Kuumba, creativity. And then the last one is Imani, which is faith. To believe with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. And so this is once again the Mishima Saba, the seven candles, and they are symbolic of the Nguza Saba, the seven principles, the matrix, and minimum set of values which Black people are urged to live by in order to rescue and reconstruct their lives in their own image and according to their own needs. So I'm going to go through the seven things that you have or on symbols that you have on your table. I've already talked about the bandera, the flag. We have the crops. The crops are symbolized by fruits, because this is a first fruit celebration. It celebrates the harvest and the rewards of production and collective labor. So this is my fruits. It could be vegetables, potatoes, and or just regular fruits, which is what I have. And this is called Mazal, the crops. Then we have the Mkeka. I already talked to you about that. The symbolic of our tradition and history, and thus the foundation which we build is the Mkeka, the mat. Then you have the Kanar, symbolic of our roots, our parent people, and the continental African. So this is ancestors. Mishu Masaba. Then you have the Muhindi, the corn. So I have 4 children, and then I have 2 grandchildren. So I have 6 ears of corn. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on my table, and I like the indigenous corn, so I always get that one in celebration of. Oh wow, I gotta clean up, get some more new stuff. Anyway, and then so that's the muhindi. Then we have the let's see, Mishu Masaba, the Kakombe Cha Moja. The Kakombe Cha Moja is this is my Kwanzaa cup. And this is some symbolic of the foundational principle and practice of unity, which makes all else possible. And usually, what you do is you pour. This is pre-COVID. You would pour water or some kind of drink in here, and then each person you would pass a cup around to your family, and they would drink from this cup. And so we keep it as a symbol of unity. And people can also use it for pouring of libation. Libation is when you pour water or wine to the ground. Usually you pour the libation. You can also pour it into a plant, and it is like a prayer to your ancestors. And I would talk about that later. And so you also, if I have time, I'm running out of time. So you also give your children gifts. They usually encourage the Lord have mercy. Um, uh, Black gifts, black books. My kids, I usually give my grandchildren, some sort of educational thing to celebrate them. This particular gift, I need to go ahead and give it to my granddaughter. I think she's old enough to take this. This is Addie Walker. Addie Walker is an American doll girl, and what is so significant about her is that she's representing a young girl who lived at Stagville Plantation here in North Carolina, outside about 30 minutes from my home. She was a child whose family was able to escape Stagville and move on to I think she went to New York. I'm not sure, but this is Addie, an Addie doll, and she has a whole book series. I think there are like 6 books in that series for her. Just add 6 books in the Addie Walker series, and so I thought this was significant. I did not realize that this was a doll who represented the people who lived out there, the Black people who lived out there at Stagville Plantation. So yes, I did not surrender. So I'm gonna put her aside. And then, so that's a gift. That's an example of a gift. I have African instruments. This is a talking drum that I don't know how well it's working. Oh, you have to put it under your elbow. But anyway, so I have the talking drum here. I also have a shekere, which is play that instrument. I have a Mancala game that you. I don't know if all of this don't see here, but this is the Mancala game or Wari. They also call it Wari, which is a game that the kings of played in ancient Egypt. And so that is basically what you have for Kwanzaa. You can one of the greetings, Habari Gani. Habari Gani means what's the news? And each day people will ask you Habari Gani. You say Umoja, or Kuji Chakalio, Ujima, Ujama. Nia Kuumba Imani, whatever day it is, that's how you respond. And we have Harambe. Every morning we have a Harambe, which means let's pull together. Kwanzaa Yenu Ewa Nahare means may y'all's Kwanzaa be with happiness. Heriza Kwanzaa means happy Kwanzaa. And then Asante Sana, thank you very much. And so that's my Kwanzaa presentation. I hope that everyone gets an opportunity this year to attend one of the events. We have events here at the Hayti Heritage Center on December 26th. We have Kwanzaa in Cary, North Carolina on December 29th. And then you have January 1st at the Armory. If you can get here, do so. Happy Kwanzaa. Oh, happy pre-Kwanzaa. Ashe, ashe, oh.
I'm a St. Cia student. Of course I walk into the sound of drums.
I'm a St. Cia student. Of course I know my mom.
I'm a St. Cia student. Of course I can play the drum.
I'm a St. Cia student. Of course I can work with my hands.
I'm a St. Cia student.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.